I just thought about it kind of in a holistic view. If I want my kid to have access to age appropriate books, what does that look like for him, right? So then, talk to Kelly. She has lists of common accommodations. And for us, he has a one-on-one aid. He has text to speech and speech to text, scribing, right? And an assistive technology assessment, which is happening next week. And so in practice, this looks like Jake being read to by his aide. Or if they're giving a quiz or they're working on word problems in math, his aide will read him the word problem and then he can dictate back the answer, or he can write it, or she can write it and he can copy it, the answer, right? For reading, I found out for silent reading initially, he was just looking at copies of Dogman books and then just making up stories for the pictures. And I'm like, that kind of defeats the point. I mean, it's nice that he wants to look at them. The point is silent reading.
Yeah, there's some value in that, but for silent reading, you don't want that to be all that
the
he does.
Only option, right? So they've loaded books onto his Chromebook with audio options for him so that he can listen to a grade appropriate story while everybody else is silent reading. I honestly think Jake would probably be in an SDC class, right? And probably a life skills class if I wasn't as involved and I weren't using all these tools, because the school would only have the picture of him when he's at school. They wouldn't have an outside perspective of who he is. They would hear his voice and assume less confidence, right? They would only see a timed test that he cannot take, and so you would have subpar scores on everything. And like with having Kelly here to take me from California all the way over to Michigan, it's that continuity of care, of her knowing Jacob, of knowing me, and knowing what I want, what Jake needs, and then helping and interpret like what this new school district is. Like Michigan has a 3rd grade reading standard where they might hold him back if he doesn't meet to a certain standard. So like we're already starting to talk about like, well, what are we going to do about that? Because that's coming up next year.